Welcome to Energy Hack 2026, organized by Solar Austin.
So one of the projects I worked on this weekend is trying to answer the question about what do the citizens of Austin actually want from their city council representatives. And instead of giving the presentation, I put together the presentation and asked my beautiful blonde partner here to give the presentation. So let's see what she has to say.
Welcome to this video on Austin Votes, a project by David Levesque designed to bridge the gap between citizens and local governance. This video outlines a solution for the misalignment between citizen preferences and city council decisions. By creating a simple voting platform, we aim to provide clearer insights and potential budget savings for our community.
Currently, communication methods between citizens and the city council, like emails or standard meetings, are often slow, experience low adoption, and can be quite burdensome for residents.
We are looking at existing platforms like Speaker Austin in this competition, evaluating how current engagement tools are utilized compared to our proposed solution. Our solution is a fast, streamlined voting and discussion website. It allows the public to easily participate in active topic discussions and view top rankings on city issues. This project is led by David Levesque, focusing on improving democratic engagement in Austin area.
The inspiration for Austin Votes comes from a desire to strengthen democracy, drawing influence from platforms like Twitter and Reddit to address the frustration felt by many citizens.
Moving forward, our next steps include building a standalone application, populating it with city council agenda items, and promoting the tool to increase public participation.
And now it's time for a demonstration of the application. After you've heard from Blondie. And let's see here how quickly I can find it. So this is, I showed in the video a screenshot. This is actually a functioning, working version of the application where you can see a list of active topic discussions and you can click in favor or against and it tallies them up, and in the top right it has the most against and the most in favor. And then if there's discussion on a topic, you can click here and say, I don't like this, and hit post. And then if you have a new topic that you want to add, you can click there and say, more gas plants, please. Not enough pollution. And then hit publish. And it'll be something that the community can vote on. Now, that's not how it will actually happen in practice, right? We won't allow everybody to just put a topic in. The idea is that we would load it with topics that are already being voted on by City Council, maybe like 7 to 10 days ahead of the City Council vote, and kind of get a pulse from the community at large. Maybe instead of collecting 10 or 20 opinions, we could get 1,000 opinions about a thing to have a more accurate pulse of what people actually want. That's the end of my presentation. Questions?
Is there like I guess like, what like next steps would it make sense to like ask for demographic data about the person voting? Like I would say like, oh, I'm age 24 to 30 and then I'll vote. And then, like I guess like a little tracking data allowed.
So for the people listening at home, by the way, we're recording these presentations. The question is, because I forgot to toss you the microphone here. No, but I think it's out of power. Yes, I'm playing with us because yesterday we had that. Here you go. Idea. Or you weren't here on Friday. Were you here on Friday for that? You were here. Okay. So I'll edit the video. Okay. So Martin's question is, does it also make sense to collect demographic data along with people's opinions? And I have two responses to that. One is that certainly we have broken up the city into districts, and oftentimes the city council member who represents a district kind of thinks about how the people in his district or her district think. So that could be another variable we could add. My second thought is the more data we ask for, the less actual engagement we'll get. So in the first version of it, my idea is to keep it as simple as possible. I would think that we would need some kind of login, so it's just not random bots or AI answering the questions. So we need some level of know your customer, KYC. And the demographic data, I would say, is either a deeper level of version 2 or something that if people ask for it, we build, or we just leave that to the professionals who do this all the time, like the universities or TEPRI or these organizations that are set up to do like official at-scale data collection for the city. Now that exists already, so why would we need something like this? I think because those types of organizations only do that for like a narrow subset of the agenda items, and it's slow and it's big and it's untransparent, right? And it's not a conversation. The point here of making a discussion is that we can actually have a conversation about it and hear different views. When University of Texas does a poll, there's not a conversation about it, right? They call you on the phone and say, what do you think of this? You don't get a peer, what do you call it, wisdom of the crowds type of environment. Other questions?
Okay, so you might have answered this already, but in terms of what we're seeing here in terms of the overall software and the discussion that in terms of, hey, I'm in favor for this, I'm not in favor for that. In previous sectors, I have primarily the cryptocurrency blockchain community. I've seen implementations of that type of formula in terms of we have a case by case in terms of, for example, we have one issue, then we have another, etc., etc. How are you going to ensure that the participation of users without having one person having a majority vote in terms of, oh yes, I would like this, whereas 99% is in reality no, but because that 1% has that majority stake, their answer is correct. So I guess the main question is, how are we going to incentivize the community participation and ensure it's not a one-sided party?
Good question. I thought of a couple of things when you were asking that, Jonathan. One is that I would say just one vote per topic per registered user. So any given user can't have more than one vote and therefore override the system or overwhelm the system or whatever the right word is. Secondly, you asked a different question, which was how do we incentivize participation? I really don't know the answer to that. That's a good question. You know, it could be the answer that I've seen or given over the years is something like if you look at eBay, the reviews of other people on other people's reviews is a part of value of the system, right? Same thing for Reddit or Twitter. That's why I mention those things as inspiration. So at some level, there's a emotional reward that we get for participating in community, right? Those things are just examples of that, Facebook and Reddit and Twitter and all these things, right? So I think on some level there's, like I said, an emotional reward for participating. Can we do other rewards? We probably can. But as soon as you do that, then you start to bias the data, right? So if I did do some clinical research for a while, and there's this whole discussion about do we reward the people who are participating in the research, or is that going to then skew the data by demographics or availability or desire for money or whatever else, right? So it's an interesting question. I can tell you one other thing, and then I'll wrap up because I know everybody else wants to go. I've been to a lot of city council meetings, and a lot of times the room is full, and a lot of times the room is empty. When I go to other meetings in the city, the room is mostly empty. So civic engagement in general is a question mark. Has anybody heard of Speak Up Austin before? So it's a website that you pay for by the city to do this kind of thing, and nobody's ever heard of it, right? So it's an interesting thing, right? Yeah. So the reason I think that nobody's heard of it is because it's very city driven and mostly focused on showing up at events and talking to people, as opposed to a digital polling solution like this. So, Mr. Michael, our judge, you get the last word. Wait. Uh-oh, you have something to say. Go ahead.
Because I'm a low tech, so I don't think I'm in competition, but I really want to show how I think. So I shared the Google slide.
You want to do yours next?
Uh-huh. So
okay, hang on.
Did we start?
I started and now you started. But I'm not done yet. So we're gonna give it to Michael. He's gonna comment on my presentation and then you can go next.
Okay, did we finish the presentation, everyone?
No.
Oh,
We've just started.
Two comments. One, you're absolutely right when you talk about all the things required to get people engaged. One of the things that's going to be most difficult is actually we're talking about not having anybody overwhelm the rest of the group. And so you need a good moderator. That leads to my other comment. When we talked about the who pays piece,
yes,
it's who pays for the project. In this case, somebody has to write the check for your systems,
right,
and your moderator, and your promotion.
Right.
And you didn't talk about
I
that.
didn't address the financial aspect. Thank you. Yay! Okay, who wants to go next? Oh, I should probably answer that question then a little bit. So I think potentially it could be funded by what the newspapers do, which is advertising, right? The newspaper could have this kind of platform, and maybe they already do to some extent, right? That's one thing. The second thing is we could just say it's so cheap to do, an individual donor could pay $200 a year to host the thing. And regarding the moderation, you know my answer to that. It's likely a human. So I would just let the AI handle the moderation as an experiment. And if that doesn't work, then we'll have to hire a human. But I'm not really sure what we mean by moderation, because my goal, and this is the other, I think, thing that maybe a lot of people didn't see the way that I see, but eBay is the community moderating itself. Like, I've suggested this idea to people before, and they said, well, it's a lot of overhead to moderate the community. And maybe it doesn't happen this way anymore. Maybe they have professional moderators because people aren't nice to each other, right? But maybe we could build an AI that could kick people out that aren't nice to each other. We could filter by bad words or bad behavior or whatever, and just say, hey, you can't participate anymore. So that's one solution to that.
Moderation is not. It's cheaper than it used to be, probably, because more AI is involved.
Right.
It's not zero.
Right.
So.
Cool. Thank you for listening. Who wants to go next?
Visit solaraustin.org to learn more.